Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's one who serves God. And we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off on Surah Bakarah, the cow. We're going to go ahead and get an understanding of the next few verses. All right. So I got the verses right here, and let's get into it, God willing. As for those who persist in disbelief, it is the same whether you warn them or not. They will never believe. God has sealed their hearts and their hearing, and their sight is covered. They will suffer a tremendous punishment. Okay? So that one was a very short one, so we're going to go ahead and leave it at that, actually, because the next one will be fairly long, actually. Let's see. So, all right, let's break it down. I just want to let you know that this is not the first verse of this book. There are two other videos that you have to read and understand, or at least you need to understand up until this point before you can fully assess this one. So if you go to my page, click the profile right there and go ahead and look at those and see those understandings to help you better understand what's going to happen during this video, right? All right, let's start with this interpretation, God willing. As for those who persist in disbelief, it is the same whether you warn them or not. They will not believe. Okay, so basically, the one who revealed this book, right, it's stating that those who persist in disbelief. So basically, disbelief in this case would be the complete opposite of what was referenced in the previous few verses that we read in my last post, talking about the requirements of how this book will properly guide them. So there's a main requirement that was stated first, which was being mindful to God. So if you don't believe in God, right, you cannot be mindful of him. And if you continue to choose, right, to not be mindful of him, this book will be of no benefit to you, right? So you have to at least have that declaration in your heart and mind, right? Like even now, I am constantly thinking that God is here with me, watching over me, and I'm hoping that he blesses me with the knowledge to fully understand this book, like he clearly stated in the previous few verses. So it says here, whether you warn them or not, meaning it doesn't matter who comes and tries to remind you of those requirements. If you have previously been given the knowledge of this and you rebel against it or you reject it, it doesn't matter whether someone comes and warn you, you're not going to listen to them if you didn't listen to it when you yourself figured out the information, right? They will not believe. It's to no avail. It won't work. And then it explains why that is. God has sealed their hearts and their hearing, and their sight is covered, which means that if you show them proof or a sign of a reason why you should be mindful and why you should believe in God, right? It's like their mind is blocked by God because they chose to not believe. So he seals their sight. They won't be able to see it, or they won't be able to see it in the same way God has allowed you to see that sign, right? I could probably make an analogy to that, right? Have you ever heard the saying, it's like it goes in one ear, but then comes out the other? That's basically essentially what God is doing to those who chose to disbelieve, right? Because it says those who persist in disbelief. So in order to persist, meaning to continue in disbelief, you had to have initiated the disbelief to begin with, right? Meaning it was your choice. So if someone comes to give you advice, you're not going to listen. There's a good example of this, and it's all too often people that are in a abusive relationship with a manipulative entity or partner, right? When a friend spots the abuse and tries to warn their friend who is the victim of the abuse of the wrongdoing that's being done to them, they tend to not listen or hear or see that they're being abused or that their friend is warning them of that danger, right? It's the same way here. So in this case, the abuser or the one abusing that individual is yourself. That's what it seems like. That's what it is, right? You've chosen to rebel against them, right? So whether it's that or there is an entity that we don't know yet that is coercing you into this disbelief and rebellion, we don't know yet. So as far as this paragraph is stating essentially that you are the reason why. Same thing, but a little less nonchalant, right? It's signs that God that this God gives you. Say you're smoking, right? And you smoke the first time, you cough, it's terrible, you feel bad. That's that sign right there telling you, hey, this probably isn't good, so you should stop. That's that sign. That's that warning. Maybe someone might tell you, hey, what are you doing, man? That's harmful. But guess what? You choose the first time to ignore it. So the next time you do it, oh, it's not as bad. Next time you do it, it's not as bad. Next time you do it, it's not as bad. But in reality, it's still harming you. But you've become numb to it, right? So that's basically what God's telling you here. If you choose to disbelieve in the stuff mentioned in the previous verses, then God will shut off your ability to feel, your ability to hear warnings, and your ability to see signs and reminders, right? So if all those are sealed, then it doesn't matter who comes to warn you or not. You'll choose to disbelieve and you will continue on that path. And then on the final sentence here, it tells us the result and the consequence of those who do disbelieve. They will suffer a tremendous punishment, meaning God will indeed punish them. But it's a big but here. Based off of reading this, the persistence of belief means that they have been warned previously and they chose to disbelieve, which will mean that the contingency of being punished has to come after they've been warned and they've chosen to disobey that warning. That's what it seems like. That's what this basic paragraph is summarizing here. So the takeaways of this few is that it discusses the qualities of the disbeliever or a disbeliever, right? Someone who has received the warning, right? It starts off with persistent in disbelief, meaning someone who has received the warning or has received warnings and has chosen to rebel against those warnings. It's basically telling us, the reader, or at least telling me that it doesn't matter if I try to warn them or not, they won't listen, hear, or feel any form of remorse or regret about the decisions they're making. The act of disbelief, they won't. For instance, if I tell them that what they're doing is bad, smoking is bad, they're not going to be able to listen to me. They're not going to be able to see their lungs, how bad they are, like how bad their body is decaying. They won't be able to hear any words I'm saying, any warnings. They'll only be able to hear whatever they desire to hear, right? So, and then it tells us that God is the reason for this. That is a part of their punishment. And then God will then punish them and continue to punish them because of this willful or choice to disbelieve, right? So I hope you guys understood this passage. I will continue to read the rest of this Qur'an, inshallah. We'll break this down. I want to understand the truth, and inshallah we'll finish, and hopefully this was helpful to everyone else. Today is Eid, so I'm also a reason why I'm cutting this a little short. I hope you guys Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your day with your family. For those who don't celebrate Eid, I hope your day is well anyway. I hope whether you're traveling, I hope your travels are safe and fruitful. If you're working, I hope God will provide you with many provisions for that work. And I hope it goes easy and smooth. And lastly, if you're at home celebrating with your family or out celebrating with your family, I hope it goes well and your connections go stronger, inshallah, God willing. And until next time, peace and blessings.